Canada is absolutely on fire right now, but not physical fire, because that would mean we're not paying enough taxes, which we are. We're completely paying enough taxes here in Canada to avoid all fires, especially during this winter's cold snap. No, politically speaking, Canada is on fire. We're actually burning to the ground, if I'm being totally honest. We're going to take a look at some videos today, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. But before we get into it, folks, welcome back to another video. I'd like to encourage everyone to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. It really helps grow the channel. And also, please consider turning post notifications on so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. Of course, we're going to start off the video with the polls. Why are the polls so important? I don't know, because it kind of dictates the future of projections, at least, of where we stand here politically. You still have the Conservatives in a just insane lead. 193 projected, high 219, low of 162. The low is still almost enough to get a majority. Liberals are tanking, so are the NDP. And when you look at the odds of winning the most seats, I mean, Conservatives are at 99%. I don't know if NDP's been there in the past. I'd have to go back and look at my older videos, but those who maybe have watched an older video where I just showed polls, maybe remind me down in the comments if the NDP ever even had 1%. I don't remember it, though. Liberals still at 1%, with a majority outcome almost 90% and a minority outcome of 11%. And the Liberals, still down at 1%. It's looking pretty good, folks. It's looking pretty good. And speaking of looking good, if you want to look good with a card decal or maybe a sticker on your fridge, or I don't know, even having a matching sticker like I do right here on my microphone, you can find the link for that down in the description. You got Trudeau on a milk carton. Have you seen me? As well as I did not see that coming. Fan favorite. I absolutely love it. It's on my coffee mug, and it's a pretty great conversation starter. The link for those are down in the description or the pinned comment below. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at what we've got here on formerly known as Twitter, now X. Karima says, then Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino made several poorly sourced yet highly influential statements during the Freedom Convoy in 2022. In 2023, RCMP FOI documents revealed a shocking feedback loop of misinformation between media, law enforcement, and government officials, with the Canadian Anti-Hate Network at the center. One need not agree with Jeremy McKenzie on anything he says to acknowledge that Diagolon is a podcast fan base, not a militia. Federal ministers and publicly funded organizations should not turn private citizens into boogeymen or scapegoats, at least not in not in healthy democracies. This was not a satisfactory response from Mr. Mendicino, and we will continue to ask questions. Now, Marco Mendicino has been really sidelined. He was what would be considered an A-team or an A-bencher liberal. He was in the front. He was at the center. And, I mean, they reshuffled to get him out of the spotlight. And somehow he's crept his way back into at least the spotlight for this portion of the video and the video we're about to watch. But for the most part, he's now been benched because he brings so much controversy. And also his face is just really, really annoying.
This action, or worse, to deny.
Mr. Mendicino, what's your relationship to with the Anti-Hate Network? Have you ever issued an apology to Jeremy McKenzie, Mr. Mendicino?
Sorry, can I just
You took a lot of information based on the Anti-Hate Network's lies. Have you ever called up Jeremy McKenzie and apologized?
I'm trying to have a conversation right now.
Mr. Mendicino, which police force wanted you to apply the Emergencies Act? Can you just tell me? No, you've never said that. Which one?
I have to say, as much as I dislike the guy, and as much as you probably dislike him, and especially his face, it looks like he's lost a good amount of weight. I don't know. Maybe he's found himself. Maybe he's done some yoga. Maybe he's gone to the West Coast and been a bit of a hippie or something like that with all his time off of work. Who knows? But he lost quite a bit of weight, a substantial amount. So kudos to him, I suppose. It feels weird saying something nice about somebody who is not nice at all. But I can at least acknowledge it.
And why this is so important, and did you think you would still be here after 100 days?
Well, I'm here to express solidarity with the Jewish community and indeed with the support of all Canadians on the 100-day anniversary of the October 7th attack by Hamas. terrorist attack which took the lives of 1,200 innocent civilians, including 8 Canadians, and who saw 200 and saw 240 hostages, released the number of hostages have since been released, but there are still approximately 140 who remain.
Typical political answer. That's fine. What I do want to really acknowledge and shine into the spotlight is, dude, Canadians are so peaceful. This is a guy who has like changed kind of pretty dramatically the political spectrum here in Canada. I mean, he's slandered people. He's gone and invoked the Emergency Act, or been a massive part in it. He has gone around and called regular Canadians the T word, the bad T word. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm trying to say. He's really just cried wolf, cried wolf, cried wolf. And look, he's surrounded by Canadians that are just pissed at him and have every reason to be. And this is the beauty of Canada, is it don't really get out of control. It does not get out of control. If this was another country, if we just go to any other like crazier country than Canada, I mean, this wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have politicians. Even Justin Trudeau can put himself in the mix. And as much as you hate, right, you detest, you dislike, whatever word you want to use, it's peaceful. Maybe he's got security around him. Maybe not. I don't know. This dude right here on the right is in a balaclava. I don't know if that's a security detail or just some dude in a balaclava. But these people that are holding up their cameras and their phones, they don't like him. No one has respect for Marco Mendicino. He's a horrible, horrible human being. He's said and done some horrible things that have created tidal waves across Canada. And they can still go out and roam, and it's civil. You just ask him questions. You talk to him. And that's what you saw with Chrystia Freeland in Rebel News, a few days ago or last week. Was, okay, she got asked some questions. The cop, abuses power, and there was a arrest or a detained individual, but no charges. And now there's a countersuit against the police officers. That's the thing about Canada, is we're peaceful. The government has tried to make Canadians look radical at any cost, and the truth prevails. And that's really what I love about Canada. And then you get into photos like this, where arrests made on Avenue Road highway overpass against protester engaging in civil disobedience. And I highly doubt that this individual is deserving of being pinned to the ground in the snow the way that he is. But that's just kind of the state of Canada, is the cops abuse their power, the politicians abuse their power, the government abuses their power, and Canadians remain peaceful. There's the odd person, there's the odd black sheep that goes and does some crazy stuff. And yeah, absolutely, put them in line. Use the law for what the law is meant to be used for. But 99.9999% of Canadians who dislike the government, who have strong opinions against the government, who are opinionated, who dislike our political sphere right now here in Canada, they're peaceful. And there's no reason to believe that they would be anything other than peaceful. So I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please let me know. And now we're getting into Justin Trudeau getting just absolutely roasted and heckled. Daisy Media on X, F you Trudeau, as he leaves the Prime Minister's office.
Still here. Shame on you. We're still here for all the victims of your policies. The millions of Canadians whose lives have been destroyed because of your lies and corruption.
And that's it. Like, look, he can walk into his car. He's waving. He's not afraid. It's very obvious. He where's the wave? Where's he waving? Ray, when he comes out the door, hey, everybody, hi. I know everybody hates me, and I'm waiting for you to overreact. And you know what? Canadians are not overreacting. They're not doing some crazy stuff where you see in other countries where they're throwing sticks and stones. No, they just use their words, because Canadians are better than that. And it's really awesome to see that. So please, if you go and protest, if you go and, heckle politicians, just keep it civil. Let's keep it clean, folks, because, it's annoying. We want things to change, but doing things differently than just being peaceful is not going to get us anywhere. Now we've got a clip from End Wokeness on X saying Canadian police warn residents not to post videos of thugs stealing packages. You cannot post the images. We have a presumption of innocence, and posting it could be a violation of private life. That's how messed up Canada is. If you catch a thief or someone committing a crime, you can't post about it online or publicly, because that's a breach of their rights here in Canada. You can't make this up.
You cannot post the images yourself, because you have to remember that in Canada we have a presumption of innocence. And posting that picture could be a violation of private life.
Instead, he says if anything is stolen, call 911.
If you get some proof that somebody might have stolen something, then call the police, give the proof to the police, and then we'll do the investigation. We'll bring that person to justice and we'll file some charges.
So everyone who has those doorbell cameras, whose Amazon packages or whatnot could be at risk, you're apparently not allowed to post actual theft happening on your property, of your property. You're not allowed to post that online in Canada because it's a breach of privacy. It's almost like it's become somewhat illegal to defend yourself from violence or being attacked in Canada because there's no real such thing as self-defense here in Canada, which there is. Don't take that out of context. There is. But it's not very good to protect victims of actual crimes, as you can see. You know, trying to identify somebody who steals your package off of your porch. You've spent money to either rent or purchase a place. You've spent money to get the package, or maybe it's a gift. It's your property. It's your entitlement by literal definition. And if someone comes and steals that, you can't say anything about it. You can't post about it because it impeaches on someone else's rights. That's right. Even criminals have more rights than law-abiding citizens. I can't even say it without laughing. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculousness, I'll leave this up to your interpretation. We have DC Media again on X saying an anti-Israel demonstration occupied city block in front of the Israel embassy today in Ottawa. What do you think of this rhetoric and these chants? This is something that we haven't really covered in a while. So this is obviously a very highly controversial topic. A lot of people get riled up or super offended by what's happening. And I'll explain exactly why. Because in Canada, if you protest things that are happening here in Canada, and I don't know, just off the top of my head, let me think about it. Freedom Convoy in 2022, a peaceful demonstration, completely overwhelming. The amount of people that showed up to support the convoy, to be a part of the convoy, and then the amount of foot traffic that was there, that was a lot of people. Like a lot of people, man. That was some like festival that got out of control almost type of thing. But the protest itself and the involvement, it was peaceful. It was loud. There was a lot of people, but it was peaceful. And you're seeing these protests that are happening across Canada, that they're not getting the same type of treatment from law enforcement or even acknowledgement from government, because they're not protesting things in Canada. They're not critical necessarily to the Canadian government, or at least not critical to the same level as what like freedom protests would be in Canada, of people waving Canadian flags saying our government sucks, our government's corrupt, and we should do something about it, because those get shut down, it seems. It seems like you're not allowed to criticize our government in gatherings, whether it's small or large or undetermined and spontaneous. But you're allowed to protest at any amount of numbers if it doesn't have anything to do with criticizing our government, because that's where our government is headed. That's why Bill C-11 and other bills that suppress freedom of speech here in Canada and talking against our own government are being implemented, because the government doesn't inherently have any issue. The Canadian government inherently doesn't have any issue with protests that are there to shine a light on things that are outside of our country's borders. But no, you're not allowed to talk about protests, or you're not allowed to protest things that are happening here in Canada, because, well, that could sway political opinion, and the government doesn't want that, because as you saw in the opening of this video, the Liberals have 1% chance, according to 338 federal polling, of actually pulling through. We've got another video here from DC Media on X. Now, if you look at what these guys are wearing, these cops, they're wearing earmuffs. Now, this could be for comms, or it could be because the decibel reading is just so loud that it's not good for their ears. If you know what that reference is towards, then good job. And if you're new here, you might want to just do a little bit of research as to why I made that comment. But it seems like the protest is getting loud. So should they invoke the Emergencies Act? Should they not invoke the Emergencies Act? I don't know. Who cares? I mean, it's just like blatant ignoramus behavior, if that's even a word I can use, by the government not taking the similar actions as what we've seen in the past to now. And I'm not advocating for like the Emergencies Act being invoked for these types of protests. It doesn't matter to me right now. Like I have no real strong opinion on that because we haven't really seen much about this, or at least I've been out of the loop for a little bit, that I haven't seen these protests happening frequently enough to form that opinion. But I'll leave this up to you. I'm going to show you the clip and you just tell me what you think. I'm curious if anybody in the comments knows or has heard or seen of maybe any reports that have come out of people that live in this vicinity, maybe complaining about the noise, complaining about the gatherings. I'm just curious because it seems, from my perspective, seeing a gathering like this, given that we've seen it before and the steps that the government and the police took, should they take more steps? I don't know, but I'd love to know if anyone has that type of information. That's a good amount of people. We are running out of time. That is a good amount of people. And I don't really know how to navigate these waters, but I will ask you as we approach the end of this video, how do you feel about these protests? Do you think that these should happen? Are you pro these protests happening? Are you against them? Are you for freedom of speech? I'm not even going to ask if you're against freedom of speech. Obviously, I'd hope by you watching the video to this length that you would that you'd be pro freedom of speech is pretty much what I'm trying to say. It seems like Canada is just shattered across. It's like broken glass, right? You can put broken glass back together, but it'll never be the same again. And that just seems to be where we're headed. Is there's always going to be a lingering feel over, are protests allowed? How big can protests be? How loud can protests be? Because we saw Canada's largest protest just get completely annihilated on the global stage, and we were humiliated, not just as Canadian citizens, but our country's reputation, and it's quite embarrassing. So when you see large protests like this, it's just hard not to be like, must be nice to be able to protest and get away with it. That's where I'm going to end today's video, folks. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Any questions, comments, or concerns about any of the videos that we've covered here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. And please, just take a moment. Go through the merch shop. Get yourself a sticker. Get yourself a hat. Get yourself a hoodie. Save some money. Turn off the heat or lower the heat down to 18 degrees instead of 22 degrees. And get yourself a hoodie. Why not? Look cool while you're freezing or staying warm. Whatever you want. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.